I understand that there are words that I need to articulate better. I understand that filler words make me sound like an autistic crackhead, right? You know what's going on? It's day number 30. We are finally here at the end of this series of me filming myself every day for the next 30 days. And it's kind of bittersweet, to be honest. And I had a few realizations before filming this. One of it being the topic that I'm going to be talking about today. And it's funny because we're at the cusp of an era where people literally have opinions about everything, right? No one cares to listen anymore. Everyone is right and wrong at the same time. And the best and worst part of it all is that most, if not a fuck ton of people, are slowly losing the awareness to realize that we're all being fucked up the ass by invisible entities that control us. But I'm not going to talk about conspiracies. That's for another day, right? Today I want to speak about the importance of listening to understand as opposed to listening to respond, and how it translates to communicating effortlessly and effectively, right? You see, for the longest time that I can remember, I grew up in a private school where the art of communication was pretty much news to me, right? The school was run by nuns that pretty much controlled everything, almost like a watered down version of an extremist cult, right? We wore uniforms like most private schools, recited prayers like obedient Christians, and for the most part, snuck around and did stupid rebel type shit that young prepubescent Christians do, right? It was the type of stuff you see in the movies, you know, kids looking and being taught to behave like robots during the day. And as soon as we were let out, we'd roam the streets and converge like hobos looking for our next meal, or junkies trading drugs, right? But back to my point is that we were taught to behave like employees, and we were taught that there's one right answer to a question. And looking back, it kind of destroyed the very essence of what entrepreneurship today looked like, to me at least, right? It's almost as if we were being told how to live our creative purpose, and this purpose was being squeezed out of us, right? And while I'm sounding quite morbid right now, I'm actually pretty grateful, right? Because I now can differentiate between the bullshit taught in school versus the realities presented to me by life itself. I mean, sure, I was taught English and the intricacies of this language, but little to nothing about how to receive, assess, and formulate responses, let alone communicate in a compendious manner, right? And the reason I'm making this video is to create awareness on the importance of learning how to communicate. Now, before I touch on the how, let me give you only one, and I mean only one reason why, right? And it's because most, if not a fuck ton of people, suck gonads at communicating, right? And on top of that, most speak without thinking. It's like they open their mouths first, you know, bullshit spews out, and only then do they realize that what they meant to say was utterly and completely different from what they actually said. And the best part, most people are moronically oblivious to their stupidity. And I'm calling them stupid at this point because they speak without thinking before they open their mouth, right? And this is the only reason you need to learn how to communicate. Basically, stand out from the rest, right? To be at the top 15, if not the top 10 percentile of the world that has their thoughts and communication skills in order. And the reason this is so important is because it bleeds into every aspect of your waking life. As the famous ex-FBI negotiator Chris Voss from Never Split the Difference mentions, everything in life is a negotiation, right? When you learn to talk and communicate, you carry a lifelong skill with you. Now, I'm in no means a master communicator, but at the very least, I'm aware of what I have to improve and where I have to improve on, right? I understand that there are words that I need to articulate better. I understand that filler words make me sound like an autistic crackhead, right? And I understand that I can pause and think and formulate the correct sequence of words and sentences before I open my mouth to speak or respond. Now that we got that out the way, now the how. Take notes here because I'm about to drop some gems for you, okay? The first and most important, in my humble opinion, is to slow down the rate at which you speak. When you slow down your speaking, the rate at which your mind processes the next set of words to say catches up, right? The main problem when people fuck up what they mean to say is they don't allow their brains to catch up to what they say. When you slow down what and how you say things, your brain almost naturally aligns with what you say, right? And this dovetails into my next point of how to communicate better. And that is to listen to podcasts. Now, this may seem counterintuitive because you do a little or no talking at all, pretty much, right? And let me break it down for you. When you listen to podcasts, you train your brain to not only slow down further, excuse me, and have the patience to disseminate the words that you're listening to, but you also increase your vocabulary by hearing others speak. Think of that for a second, right? On top of the fact that you're training yourself to listen more, which is a significant, if not critical component to communication, right? You see, when you listen to learn, or learn to listen, you learn to understand. And when you tap into these split-second moments of really understanding whatever was said, you equip yourself with something that not many people have. And that is the magnificent component that is the awareness to respond accurately and eloquently if necessary, right? You essentially kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Listening to podcasts helps you become more patient, practice your comprehension, and expand your vocabulary as well, right? When it comes to expanding your vocabulary, you can research words that you don't understand and deliberately figure out what they mean and where they fit. And because you are intentional with this practice, you naturally increase your selection of words. This again dovetails. You see what I mean by deliberate placement? This dovetails into my next point of how to get better at communicating. And that is through writing, right? Now, writing further solidifies your cauldron of words you have up here in your head and lays them out into a mold or framework that helps you put sentences together, right? Because it's one thing to know fancy words and increase your vocabulary. It's a whole other beast entirely to know how to inject them into your sentences appropriately. Now, you have to realize that writing helps you build sentences, and this brings everything together in your head out into the open, right? When you learn to build sentences together through writing, what'll happen is you ultimately cut out the middleman of pen and paper and almost project your sentences from your head onto the external environment, right? Essentially, what happens is writing every day builds the skill of communicating. And all you have to do is do this every day, even if it means writing a whole bunch of bullshit in the beginning, right? The better you get at formulating sentences, the better your thoughts improve. And this literally seeps into the way you speak and communicate. It's almost like a double whammy of learning paired with intentional application at the same time, right? Even the skill of writing in itself, when practiced diligently over an extended period of time, extrapolates into all domains of life, personally and professionally, right? Think of it this way. Your communication gets better. Your relationships get better. Your confidence gets better. Your thoughts get better. You understand life better. You learn better and are even more eager to learn, right? Come to think of it, writing only breeds a positive return because you learn to get your points across in a formulated manner, right? Lastly, to bring everything full circle, take out that trusty smartphone that you have and record yourself on camera when you speak, right? You don't even have to post it on social media, but what you can do is watch yourself and deliberately note how you speak, your tone, frequent words that you use, your ums, your ahs, your eye contact. All of these play into how you communicate. And with this, you fix what needs fixing, right? Make mistakes, even pause like it's your first time speaking on camera, you know? And it's all a progression. Like how I talked about in one of my past videos, you don't go from speaking like a retard to speaking like top G overnight, right? It does not happen. And you can, however, progress to get there, right? You communicate better by speaking and exercising that speaking muscle. And the more you do it, the better you get, right? Take it from me, and in my opinion, my leaps and bounds of improvement over these past 30 days, right? Because today is the last day of this series, I can confidently say that I certainly won't stop making videos, right? And with that, I'll end this one by inviting you to join my completely free newsletter, right? If you've gotten this far, might as well do me a solid and join the newsletter, because I share more in-depth sauce than I could in these videos about life, chicks, entrepreneurship, and more. So I hope to see you in there. If you enjoyed this video and got some value, make sure to leave a comment in the section below, like, share, and subscribe this video too, and I'll see you on the next one.